Welcome to the broadcast, my dear Tutti Fruities. You are looking absolutely gorgeous today, if I do say so myself. I want to begin with a brief message from my dear correspondent Christina, daughter of Princess Elizabeth of Yugoslavia and the granddaughter of Prince Nicholas of Greece and Denmark. As you know, she is a friend of this channel, and she is a cousin of the Kents, of course. So in relation to the death of Thomas Kingston, she says, "My dearest Queen Rivulletta," as she charmingly calls me, "thank you for your kindness and thoughtfulness. You are a superstar. This is a time of great sadness for the family, with whom I have been in touch to offer condolences. If you would like to extend my sentiments to your audience, please do so. Thank you for your caring and keep doing your wonderful work. Yours, Bergie." And I think that's rather gracious of dear Bergie, actually, to say that I'm doing wonderful work. Oh, my head, my head, my head. Queen Alexandra dear, please, if you can, shrink down my head, extend those royal arms and shrink down my head. She says I'm doing wonderful work. Remember, she is pro Harry and Meghan and not so pro some aspects of the royal family, even though she's quite closely related to all of them and knows them all. So I should say she's critical of them. So it's rather gracious of her to extend that type of warmth, isn't it? To me and to Basketeers, but she does so. So we wish her and her family very well. Now, I had to move my recording device back a little today to try and fit in my antlers. And I still don't think I moved back far enough because they are huge. They are huge. Sorry if you can't see them in their full rutting glory, but you know. Are you feeling horny? Well, they're not horns, are they? They're antlers, I think. But I had to make adjustments, and as a consequence, I seem to be pitching my voice differently as well because you're further away. It is what it is, my dear. I never promised technical prowess of any kind. This is a makeshift dressing up box affair, as well you know, if you are a regular here. Before we get on to the subject of Meghan, I'm still reeling from two major events this week, one being Sophie's speech, which we will discuss in more depth on the next broadcast because it's Prince Edward's 60th birthday tomorrow. But her speech, if you haven't seen it, do look at it on YouTube or wherever you want to find it. So moving, so gorgeous, so Sophie. How can anyone come up with a bad word about those two? I don't know. That was one thing that I'm still reeling from, the emotion of it. The other thing, for any pop fans out there, was the unification of Madonna, Queen of Pop, and Kylie, Princess of Pop. This is Kylie Minogue, not so well known in the States, for example, although she is known there, I know that, but she's not a megastar there as she is here in the Kingdom and Europe and way beyond, all over the world, really. And it was wonderful for those of you who are music fans to see them together. You know, they were pitched as rivals in the early days. And, you know, I love the 90s incarnations of both Madonna and Kylie. And I suppose some of the 80s stuff as well, most certainly. But not quite so much in recent years. But it was still a tonic to see them both together on stage, sharing a warm embrace. And you might remember that Madonna paid homage to Kylie at the beginning of this century by wearing Kylie's name emblazoned across her chest for a performance, and Kylie returned the favour, some 22, 23 years later, by joining her on stage. So it was a really nice pop moment. And if you are an enthusiast of gay icons, let's face it, and I know not just gay icons, popular with all, but specifically, they do have a charm attached to them for the letters community, as it is now known. And so it was a treat in that aspect, although the disappointing thing was that Madonna, she brought Kylie on, it was lovely about her, but she brought her on stage at the moment when she brings out that bloody guitar. Every tour for the last 20 years, that guitar, that's why I won't go and watch her perform live at all. That guitar, it's so boring. put the guitar away, and they did I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor, you know, an anthem, my dear, wonderful, but a slow, low-tempo acoustic version of it, and sung along to that. Ooh. And I mean, the crowd were thrilled and happy enough. I was not. I was very dismayed, and you could see that Kylie wanted to get the crowd going. She was trying to pump it up, my dear, get some tempo in there. Madonna wasn't having it. It was serious face, eyes down as she does, strum, 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 pretending she's Courtney Love. You know, love the gal to bits, but what about some disco for the gays and for the moment, my dear? It could have been spiced up into something absolutely phenomenal and extraordinary, but who knows what they'll come out with in the future. But it was wonderful to see them, both in their autumn season, Kylie 55, Madonna 64, and yes, I did have some disparagement for Madonna's tour early in the year, and I hold to some of my criticisms there, but it doesn't mean I can't also embrace the joy of it and seeing her, you know, totter around on stage as she does. So I enjoyed that moment. Well, at least I thought it was very cute. But now we must turn to something not quite so cute, and that was the performance of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, at South by Southwest. And another H&M were in the first row, in the front row, Harry and Marcus Anderson, dressed in pink knitwear. Was it cashmere? I don't know. But they made up the supporting cast, and Meghan, ludicrously, was introduced as a feminist and a champion of human rights and gender equity. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is a New York Times best-selling author and co-founder of the Archewell Foundation and Archewell Productions. And then so much grandiose word salad, it made me feel sick. And then she swishes in. Oh, she swishes in with those skirts, that long skirt, and the little limp wrist action that she does going on. Sachet, sachet, chantez. There's an old poem I used to love. When aunties' skirts move around, they make the most familiar sound. I'll have to look it up and read it too one time. But yes, aunties' skirts. And it was like something that Fräulein Maria rustled up from the drapes of Salzburg. You know what I mean, my dear? It had that effect from a distance. I must say that I thought it looked rather attractive close up, and from the chest upwards, at least, on screen, it looked really nice. And I think the colours flattered her, and I think her makeup looked nice. I thought it was really rather attractive, but not so much from a distance. My dears, I'm struggling a bit with my voice today, but it is not due to any illness, it is not due to anything sinister, it is due to a rough night, in the good sense of the word rough, if I might put it that way. It was quite a Friday night. I'm suffering for it. So I'm sorry, you'll have to bear with me. It's rather difficult for me to do. The mules were rendered in ivory calfskin. The knot earrings were by Bottega Veneta. And she was horribly touchy-feely with the guests, as always. As soon as they march in, she has to lean over. The scrunch of the hand, the scrunch of the eye. Very cloying, very ingratiating. We're besties now. You've joined my club. It's above the A, B and C list and the Z list. It's the M list, the double M. High in the stratosphere, far above the K club for Katie, Wadey Katie. Aha! One of the others on the panel I noticed was complaining about young, thin, white people. As usual, they get it in the neck. White people out of fashion, out of favour. Shut up, white people, shut up. More representation they bang on about from other people of colour. Because you rarely see people of colour anywhere, do you, my dears? Anywhere at all. Unless you've been living under a rock. But this is their perspective. And Meghan starts droning on about, if you see someone that looks like you, it is incomprehensible to most people to imagine that they can have that level of success or joy or strength. I don't think so, actually, Meghan Markle. Ask Margaret Thatcher if anybody in positions of power, such as a prime minister, looked like her when she was coming on through. Did it stop her? Did it make her think, I could never do that? I need someone that looks exactly like me. A middle-aged white woman with a great big blonde bouffant hair and a handbag. No, she didn't. Did it stop Rishi Sunak when he was a youngster here in the kingdom, growing up, a young brown boy, around the streets of Southampton? Did it stop him when he didn't see anybody in the cabinet looking like him? No, it put a fire in his belly, no doubt. Or, I think he would even say, not even put a fire in his belly. He simply didn't see it as anything to hold him back, that nobody apparently represented him. What about Grace Jones, a figure on the pop scene? Nobody looked like her when she came through. Did it stop her becoming one of the most fabulous, talented and beautiful artists in the pop sphere? No, it did not. And what about me? What about me? Did I see many people looking like me when I was coming on through? And don't mention John Inman, Julian Clary or Quentin Crisp. The fact is that there was nobody that represented accurately me. That didn't stop me from making a fine success in many areas of my life. I didn't need some role model to look exactly like me and have my exact ethnic makeup, of which you are not privy to. Now, I understand, joking apart, I understand that it is important to some people to have representation, but what I don't approve of is this virtue signalling from the likes of Meghan and cohorts banging on and on and on about it, and dismissing thin young whites as if they are some statuette like Queen Alexandra at my side that can just be dismissed, and erased. We get a retelling of the letter to the dishwashing liquid detergent company again for the 6 gazillionth time. But in fairness, we must blame Katie Couric for this, because she initiated this story, although I'm sure Meghan would have whipped it out of her handbag at some point. Katie Couric, she asked for a retelling of this fabulous story. It's just so inspiring. It's so wonderful, Rachel. For this life-changing commercial that we all know Meghan had no hand in changing whatsoever. It was altered because of not her. It was nothing to do with her stupid letter. So she retells the affair. Brooke Shields butts in and she says, well, when I was 11, I was playing a prostitute. Me too, Brookie dear, me too. Wasn't it fun? Wasn't it fun? Except I wasn't acting. Oh, pretty baby. I love that Blondie song, don't you? I've never seen the movie. But I do know that that song, Pretty Baby, by Blondie was based on Brooke Shields, and I love it so much. And I reenact it all the time and have done all through my life, playing a prostitute, which I adore. Then the subject of bullying arises. This is what it's all about. I've been bullied, I'm a victim. Managing endless toxicity, she says. Managing endless toxicity. She keeps her distance from it all for my own well-being. I got the bulk of it when I was pregnant with Archie and Lily and with the newborn. And it's not catty what these people do. It's hateful and cruel. Hateful and cruel. And women spewing to other women. Churning out very inciting comments and conspiracy theories that can have a tremendously negative effect on someone's mental health, their physical safety. If you're reading something terrible about a woman, why are you sharing it with your friends? Well, Rachel Ragland, let's talk about Catherine, shall we? The Princess of Wales, let's talk about her. Because if it appears that I'm being dismissive about all of Meghan's concerns, there is reason for it. Because I do have sympathy and would have more sympathy for the gal regarding so much of the atrocious, evil stuff that isn't just fair critique or commentary or comedy or a bit of playfulness. I would have sympathy for some of the more vile, harsh stuff out there, and particularly with regards to the stupid conspiracy rumours. Stupid conspiracy rumours. And yes, regarding pregnancies and children. Yes, I would have more sympathy. But the reason that I hold her to account for all of this is because she is a hypocrite. She's a hypocrite. Let's talk about Catherine. Let's talk about Queen Camilla. Let's talk about the late Queen's legacy and the Commonwealth legacy. All trashed by her and at her behest. And Harry takes his share of the responsibility for that too, most certainly. And I make no bones about it, and I discuss it all the time. All disparaged. The chat show, the book, Netflix, need I say more? And we've had no accountability for that, no apology, just one lily-livered denial. We didn't say they were racist. No, don't know what you're talking about, mate. We didn't say it. No. You're inventing things. Mate. Yeah, you're inventing. Yeah, I'm Prince Harry, man, and you're inventing. You invented. I don't know. No reckoning after accusations were disproved. Everything they said about the King, Prince of Wales as Charles was, everything they said about withholding Archie's princely title, when in actual fact they were following protocol and letters patent. They didn't apologise for any of that. We've heard tumbleweed. We've heard nothing but the sound of tumbleweed. We've heard goose egg. Goose egg! And I have to do my goose eggs down here because whenever I do my goose eggs up there, you can't see them. They get camouflaged in my throne. Goose egg! Goose egg! Meghan says, why are you choosing to put that out in the world? Ask yourself, lover girl. Ask yourself. Why did you choose to put that out in the world? Your private grievances. Do you see the quiz? Do you see the quiz? And I'm not defending conspiracy theorists or hate channels because I loathe them, to be quite honest with you. And I think that they cast a dark shadow over the likes of channels such as mine. Well, I only speak for me because I don't even watch other channels related to royalty. I know about some of them. You tell me about some of them. I don't watch them. But I will speak about my own. They cast a shadow that sits very uncomfortably with the likes of me, who has never indulged a single conspiracy theory, and actively advocates for no hate and to keep things playful rather than hateful. So I would see your point of view, Meghan and dearie. But when you speak of being incentivized to spew their hatred by these platforms, hold on one cotton-picking moment, lover gal. Incentivized, does that not apply to you? Does that not apply to you? The incentives involved don't apply to the Duchess of Sussex, the Queen of Montecito. Does that not apply to your multi-millions? Your multi-million-dollar contracts to slag off the royal family and nothing more, who have no right to reply, by the way. Do you see the quiz? And if you're a victim, it's of your own making, lover, while victimising others, other innocents, I might say, and it's also a consequence of your own karma. Meghan says, if it was your friend, your mom, or your daughter, you wouldn't do it. I understand there's a bottom line there, but even if it's making dollars, it doesn't make sense. Well, it made sense to you. Need I say more? It made sense to you, Meghan. So don't be a hypocrite. Don't pee on my leg. Don't hitch up Auntie's skirts, swish them all around, pick them up and up and up. Do one of your Ellen degenerate squats and pee on my leg and look up at me with a little coy, bashful face, all innocence, of a cherub, of an angel. Look up at me and say, "It's raining," while you're cocking your leg on mine and taking a piss. "It's raining, River, it's raining. Look at the umbrellas of Cherbourg. Get yours out, where's your pastel-coloured brolly? Because I can feel rain, look." Psh, psh, psh. Cocking her leg against me and peeing on my leg, creating a great big puddle and trying to convince me that it's rain. Rachel, darling, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. Get it? Got it? Good. Elizabeth Ramsey says the Washington Post may be too left for many of your subscribers. Well, you've got a point there. I think over half of my viewers do lean to the right, but there is a sizable minority of left-wingers here too, and many who are somewhere in between or who hop about. So yes, I take your point, but we do have a wide variety here for certain. But last week, at the height of the hysteria regarding Catherine, this is, the Washington Post's style editor published an excellent column summarising now she essentially asked, what more do people want from Catherine? She went on to say that for 20 years, Catherine has done everything that people have asked of her, from handling unwarranted harassment before her marriage, to facing the cameras hours after giving birth, to being absolutely stalwart, graceful and loyal in the face of cruel rumours and the unfair criticisms in the face of Brexit. Her bottom line, Catherine will return when she is fit and well. Leave her alone to heal in peace. Hear, hear. Hear, hear, my dear, as I've been saying. And it's interesting you brought the word hysteria into the mix. The hysteria we've been seeing around what is essentially just online nonsense. Complete stuff and nonsense. And we've spoken about the word before. I think it might have been Meghan that brought it up in one of the Archetypes episodes from memory. Might be, but the word hysteria that comes from the Greek word hystera, meaning of the uterus, or specifically the starvation and displacement of the uterus. Wonderful imagery there, isn't it, my dear? In the 19th century, it was a diagnosable physical illness in women, you see, and Egyptians attributed behavioural problems and abnormalities to a wandering uterus, as it was known. A wandering uterus boggles the mind, doesn't it? I don't want to think about the imagery. But hysteria, hysteria. Most rum. But you know, the word serene is attached to royalty. Most serene highness, most gracious and serene majesty, blah, yada, yada. And Catherine is serene. It is a wonderful word to sum her up, isn't it, my dears? Serene. A serene dream she is. And as you might be aware, she has been photographed with Mummy, with Carol Middleton. She was photographed and it was shown in America. It was not shown on the official media channels here in the kingdom because it was out of respect. As far as I'm aware, to the best of my knowledge. I haven't looked into that, but I don't believe it was shared. The articles I saw refused to publish it and didn't share it. So this is down to arrangements that royalty have with the press to protect them. And by and large, the reputable organisations honour that deal, if you will, that I'm sure Harry would paint as so underhand, because the likes of Catherine and William cooperate with the press and they issue an official portrait of the children at the right time. And they are forthcoming at the right times. And they don't play these silly games about, well, we're going to do it our way because we're special and we're going to challenge the system and all of this bollocks. They do what they need to do and then they are respected. You can't demand to be respected. Respect must be earned, or it is pie crust respect. Easily made, easily broken. Just Corin says, wouldn't it be cool if Catherine comes out at Easter with a new do? Oh, a new do. Not that I dislike her hair, but I'd love her to try something different. I also would giggle if it sent the witch to the hairdresser as a result. Oh, wouldn't that be something? Single white female. Oh, sorry, single, married, 43% Nigerian female. That would be the single. It's a great movie, isn't it? Single white female. I do love that one. Wouldn't that be something if they came out with matching haircuts because Rachel had got wind of it? But I read out your question, just Corin, or your comment, because I agree with you. We all love Catherine's hair. The late Queen loved Catherine's hair, and I wouldn't want it to be shorter forever. And I think it would be wonderful as she ages and she can put it up in wonderful twists and all kinds of glamorous do's, as you say. I'd like to see more of them. But yes, I do think that she could, without going overboard or anything gauche, I do think that she could come out with something fabulously modern were it shorter. She's got the kind of face where she could pull off so many different looks. So many different looks. Even the shortest of short, I think that she could probably get away with, to be honest, with that face. I really do. Nice hair, nice face. I think she could get away with it. But no, I think, something mid-length or, sort of dramatic bobby. I don't want to use the word bob, but even some kind of asymmetric affair. She could do all kinds of things that just give her a bit of an edge as she approaches. Where is she? Early 40s. Well, she's still got a lot of the summer season left, even. And it doesn't matter what season she's in, to be honest. But it would be nice, I think, to throw something different in the mix at this point, where she's approaching high summer. I think it would be really nice. I agree with you, because I don't think that she would do anything vulgar with it. It would be gorgeous. But she obviously likes it long. She wears it down at every opportunity. I think she wears it down too much, actually, because she plays with it too much for my personal preference. The daytime events and things like that. I'd prefer her to do an Anne and get it off the face. But, I'm nitpicking. It's always lovely and luscious. We know. Many have commented, by the way, and thank you for sharing your experiences about abdominal surgery and stomach surgery. I feel fortunate that I don't know anyone really that has had serious surgery of the stomach. Family members have had surgery in that area at some points, but not quite so serious due to the length of stay of the 14 nights. But it is obviously not rare. Simply from going from your comments and your experiences. Some of you took many weeks, some of you took a few months to heal, some of you took 2 years to heal. Years, and still feel the repercussions. It's called healing. It's called convalescence. And it's just nonsense on stilts about all this drama unfolding from it. Nonsense on stilts. But thank you very much for interesting comments about your experiences with abdominal surgery. It sounds like it is very raw on the stomach muscles to be able to regain their use again, depending on what you've had gone wrong and how they've had to stitch you up and what they've had to do to your inside. You know, this is serious stuff that requires delicacy. You're fragile after surgery. You need to respect your body and give it that time and space, which is exactly what Catherine is doing. She's on doctor's orders, quite obviously and quite evidently, which is encouraging. It's encouraging that she's taking her time. And whether or not she appears at Easter or after Easter or at Trooping the Colour or next Christmas, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Of course, she's missed, but it'll make it all the more sweeter when she re-emerges healthy and recovered. That's all that counts. PK says, my husband just had emergency surgery to have his gallbladder removed. He's a big guy who never complains about anything. He said this by far is the worst ever. He's in agony. Time heals all wounds, right? You know, that just goes to show that even the big boys find it tough. We wish your hubby a speedy recovery, PK, don't we, my dears? We wish him a speedy recovery and anybody else who is going through the gigs. Anita Hood says, I am week 3 post-abdo surgery. OMG, I can barely stand for 15 minutes. Of course, Catherine is much younger than myself, but her recovery time is definitely within normal range. I am now doing some laundry with help. When healing, you need plenty of sleep and rest and light exercise regardless of age. Any small slip or jolt can cause wound healing implications. Leave her alone. She doesn't need to be pushed. I presume you're not addressing me there, my dear. You might have been, but I think you're addressing people in general to leave her alone. Now, in my previous broadcast, in the tip jar corner, I showed you a painting that I found, a tiny little painting, an original one, in a charity shop. I picked it up for £5, and I told you that I thought the name was Robert Cox, but it was so vague and faded that I hadn't even bothered Googling the name, and I certainly had no expectation that it would be a known painter. Truly, I really didn't, but of course, you knew. This is why I love the fruit basket. You knew, and you told me. Catherine B was one of many. Thank you to all of you who mentioned Robert Cox. But Catherine B was one of many who said, Hi River, I love your broadcasts and was particularly taken with your very chic and elegant ensemble today. Well, thank you, my dear. Actually, that was in my fur. That was in my fur number, and I got many comments telling me that it looked like a Shar-Pei, that my fur coat looked like a Shar-Pei. And I have to say that I agree with you quite entirely. It almost looked like Prince Harry's missing foreskin, didn't it? Or maybe Big Willie's. But yes, it is the Shar-Pei fur. That is what we're going to have to call it. Oh dear. And I was also asked, am I all fur coat and no knickers? Well, how did you guess, my dear? How did you guess? Ooh la la. I digress. Looked chic, thank you. Your tip jar corner painting is indeed a Robert Cox oil. I recognised it straight away as I have 2 of his myself and am familiar with his palette knife technique that he utilised to create his glorious flowers. He was an American artist born in 1934 in New Jersey, not to be confused with the notably younger British painter of the same name who paints poppies. And he lived much of his life in California, where he was inspired to paint flowers. He was a great proponent of original art being available to all, and so it's rather special that you come across a piece of his art in a charity shop. I think he would have loved spending time in Hannah Hawkswell's meadows with his paints and palette knife, don't you think? Thanks for your very entertaining and informative broadcasts, Catherine. Thank you very much, Catherine dear. Thank you for mentioning Hannah Hawkswell. Another delight was the fact that in the previous broadcast, when I spoke to you about the life of Hannah Hawkswell, my recent discovery, tens of you, dozens of you, thanked me and said that you'd followed the video links that I had given and you'd watched the documentaries and were spellbound by the gal. You were spellbound by her. And it is a great find, isn't it? something rather soothing for the soul as well to see. Quite a pure character with those wonderful angelic flushed cheeks and that graceful personality that she had. So it thrills me that it thrilled you. Really nice. Thank you for the comments on that. And thank you for telling me about the painting. As I say, I bought it for £5 and I don't think it would sell for much more than that, to be quite honest with you. He seems ubiquitous. I've looked up his paintings. I just googled Robert Cox painter and looked at the images, and they're lovely to see. They're really lovely to see. Nice to hear you've got 2 of them. They do sell, I guess, 40, 50 quid, some of them 65. Some of them, and the larger ones, go up to prices in the thousands. 1,000 or 2,000 I've seen, and even some beyond that. So even though I don't think my spool painting that I discovered would reach those dizzy heights, and I have no intention of selling it anyway, it is certainly nice to know that it's a recognised artist that did it, because it makes me feel that I've got the eye. I've got because I told you I didn't like the frame it was in. It's a sort of plasticky frame. I'm not going to keep that in the house. I wouldn't put that on display. But in the right frame, if I ever got round to it, then it would be all right in a corner somewhere. And you know, I've got the eye. Look out for me on Antiques Roadshow. Actually, one of my viewers told me in the last video that they had purchased something for 50p and ended up on Antiques Roadshow with a nice find. I can't remember exactly what it is now, but I did read your comment, my dear, and it's nice to know. I hope you had lots of fun. And I also had lots of thanks for switching people onto the HG cleaning product I mentioned for Limescale. And you shared your joy at that range, which apparently has changed hands recently. The cleaning company HG has changed hands in 2023, so no one's quite sure what's going to happen to all of it. But you were singing your praises of how effective their products are, and I got a comment just today saying, thank you, River, for mentioning the Limescale remover. You've saved my life, and I love that. We can't all claim to be a Prince William helicoptering from cliff top to cliff top, from one perilous mission to another rescue mission, and putting oneself in the line of danger or in the line of fire. We can't all claim to be lifesavers in that respect, but we can find small ways to assist and bring joy and be a lifesaver, as you put it, my dear, whoever left me that comment. In the little ways. Do you understand, my dear? It's the small pleasures of life that are really the greatest pleasures. You assist me with mine, and I am only too pleased to help assist you in finding yours and helping where I'm able to. Thank you for joining me. I will see you next time, my dears. Have a lovely evening. Have a splendid time. See you soon, and toodle pip.